See, the next thing, let's look at the cross tab analysis. Typically, when I have to look at one or two or more categorical variables together, I want to do some kind of analysis taking two or more categorical variables. I resort to this cross tab analysis. So primarily, if I want to check, let's say in our data, I want to take one categorical variable, let's say as marital status, and another categorical variable, let's say gender or level of education. These are all categorical variables which are nominal or ordinal variables in our data. So if I want to do an analysis taking any two or more of them together, so here I would like to see whether, especially very much applicable to interview questions, especially we have scenarios of highly satisfied or probably more excellent to good to poor, this kind of ordinal data if we have, this makes a real good analysis, right? I'll do on this example. At the same time, I'll take up one example where this kind of satisfaction levels are there, and based on that we'll try to understand this cross tab analysis. So if I have to take any two nominal or ordinal variables together and do an analysis, so here my question would be taking, let's say, two nominal or ordinal variables, one being marital status and two being gender. Is the collection of data uniform across gender and marital status? What do we mean by that? See, I have 1,000 records collected, right? So probably, let's say, just for example, I'm saying out of the 1,000 records, let's say 600 are male, 400 are female. Fair enough. I'm not debating on this aspect. It has to be 500, 500. I'm not talking about it. But when I bring in the second variable, probably when I bring in, let's say, gender, sorry, let's say marital status. Marital status, out of the 600 males, how many of them are married? How many of them are unmarried? Let's say 400 of them are married, 200 of them are unmarried. In the females, out of the 400, I'll see how many of them are married, how many are unmarried. Now, let's say the data I have collected is 100 married, 300 unmarried. Then it says this is not consistent. There is a significant difference in the distribution across the males, between the gender as well as the marital status, because when it comes to the marital status within the gender, the males are almost double to that of, the married in case of males is double to that of females, whereas in case of double to that of unmarried, whereas in case of females the proportion is something else. So what we are going to test typically when we bring in two variables together at a time is the distribution uniform across the two variables? Is the distribution of the data uniform across the two variables? It need not be equal. It has to be statistically equal, right? That is what we call as the uniformity of the variable. So whenever I would like to look at two variables, the uniformity between the distribution across the two variables. So probably here I can take gender education level. Is the distribution uniform across all education levels for all genders, or is it not uniform? I'll put up this test, then you will get a clarity on understanding on this. So I'll take two variables, marital status and gender, right? So for that, I get into analyze descriptive statistics, cross tab. This is one more analysis, the cross tab analysis. If I have two or more nominal or ordinal data to work on, I'll go with the cross tab analysis. Here it talks about which value you want in the row, which value you want in the column. So let's say marital status, gender I take in one of them, row or column, and marital status also I take at some other location, row or column. This is the two variables which I would like to analyze. I am taking them on row or column. Then one main calculation which we require to do in this case is click on the statistics tab. The more comfortable and easy to do analysis or most mandatory analysis in case of two variables, two nominal or ordinal variables, is a chi-square analysis. Right? Once we get the output, I'll tell you what how to interpret that output. So the remaining all are addendums, but the core analysis that is required in case of two nominal variable is a chi-square analysis for us. So when I do this chi-square analysis, rest all you don't need to, rest all are default. The only thing is we are adding chi-square because from now onwards, anything which we are doing is a test, because I am comparing two variables. So when I am comparing, what is my objective here? They are uniform or they are not uniform. That's my conclusion. Right? When I bring in two variables at a time, and this analysis which we are doing is we are comparing two variables regarding the uniformity of the spread of the values. Are they uniformly spread across all genders and all marital statuses? Are they uniformly spread or are they biased towards some side? That's my analysis here. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion will come out either they are uniform or they are not uniform. One of the two is the conclusion. Now that conclusions from a sample of data can come through a statistical test. And so in all these cases, we will frame one hypothesis. That hypothesis we actually call as null hypothesis. Right, let me put it on the screen. We'll frame so here my objective in case of crosstab analysis is uniformity in the distribution of the variables. So if the variables are let's say 60-40 ratio, probably even when I add a second variable also, they should be more or less in a similar ratio. Otherwise, probably the gender is in a different aspect. Gender is in 60-40, but within the gender, when I bring in marital status, in case of males it is 2:1, in case of females it is 1:3. 1 married, 3 unmarried, whereas in case of males 2 married and 1 unmarried. So the proportion inside that is not uniform. That is what is typically being brought out by the crosstab analysis. By adding in one more variable, is the pattern of the distribution of the data still remaining uniform or getting distorted? So here we are bringing in the main test we are doing is uniformity in the distribution of the variable. So the hypothesis, this is where we are making one hypothesis, where in general we call it as a null hypothesis. Null is the equality. Most of the time the null should have words like uniform, equal. These are some of the words, right? No difference. These are some of the words that should be there as a part of the null hypothesis. So here, because our objective in this test is to compare the distribution between two variables, the null hypothesis directly tells me they are uniform. The statement, there is no difference in the distribution between these two variables, the marital status and the gender. That's my null hypothesis. Anything which has a word called equality or uniformity or no difference kind of words, they go as a part of my null hypothesis. And when it comes to alternate, there is a difference. Difference, not equal, less than, greater than, these kind of words, which is exactly opposite to null hypothesis. Now what happens is, whenever we are performing, so I am starting with a hypothesis assumption that these two are uniform. I'll start with an assumption that these two variables, the distribution is uniform. Now, if I am starting with that assumption, what is that I need to do to break that? I need to disprove it, because I am starting with an assumption. If there is no evidence to disprove it, that assumption can still be continued. I'll always start with the null, and the null always contains uniformity, equality kind of stuff. So here I am starting with an assumption that there is no difference in the distribution between the two variables. They are uniformly distributed. So I should have some test which will say no, they are not uniformly distributed. Otherwise, I can go ahead with that assumption. So it's like this. Probably relating it to a court case, the judge starts with the assumption this guy is clean, ignorant, innocent. That's the basic assumption the judge starts his proceedings with. Now there should be someone who needs to prove no, he has committed the mistake. Right? Even if I prove 200 times he has not committed the mistake, if there is one evidence saying he has committed the mistake, that would be given importance. Because the basic assumption is he has not committed the mistake. So if I can prove that he has committed the mistake with at least one evidence, he is guilty. That's the typical law. Same thing applies to our statistical law also. I start with a basic premise, there is no difference. Now I need to have some kind of a mechanism which says no, there is a difference. And that particular test, at least in this example, when I have to compare two variables, two nominal or ordinal variables, that test which I am using is what I call as a chi-square test. That's again a statistical distribution, right? There's a big complex formula involved in it. But yeah, the tool simply gives us the output. Now all I have to see is evaluate the output which the tool gives to me, and based on that, base my decision. Right? So here the focus is more on the decision making rather than the calculation aspect. Right? So now if I have to apply that, I am saying these are my two variables, and I am saying chi-square test has to be applied, because my objective wise, my null hypothesis is there is no difference in the distribution, and alternative is there is difference. So this statistical test should tell me whether I should go with null or with alternate. Only one of the two conclusions is possible. This is the conclusion world. There will be only one of the two conclusions at any point in time. Either I go with the null, saying no difference, or I go with the alternate, saying there is a difference. Right? So that is being evaluated through a chi-square test. Now when I bring in that chi-square test, you say okay here. Alright. So here, if you see the output, okay, it's a combination of gender and marital status. Only 844 results are valid because there are some missings in marital status, there are some missings in gender. Both of them will be eliminated now. List-wise eliminations from now onwards, because two variables are there. In one it cannot be missing and in one there cannot be a value. So both of them will be eliminated. So 15% of the cases are missing. Only 84% of the cases are existing. First thing. Now this is the distribution. So married, see if I look at males, 399, females is 445. Right? Out of that, unmarried versus married, 210 and 189. Some proportion. 210 and 189. And when it comes to females, 223 and 222. Almost equal. Whereas in the earlier case, in the males case, unmarried are slightly more compared to married. In the females case, married and unmarried are more or less the same. That's one observation. Just a visual observation. We have to go with statistical observations finally. But visual observation is 399 out of 399 males, probably probably the unmarried are 210 and married are 189. So unmarried are, if I put it in percentage terms, at least 10% more than the married. Whereas in case of females, unmarried and married are almost the same, only one number more. Now look at it the other dimension. Look at it from the marital status standpoint. 433 are unmarried. Out of that, male to female ratio. Again, slightly, females are probably 5% more than the males. But when it comes here, 411, 189 and 222. Right? 189 and 222. Probably almost 20% more. Females are 20% more than the males. Whereas here, females are just 5% more than the males. So, at least the visual observation is telling that the distribution is not uniform. Either when I look at it from males-female standpoint, or I look at it from the married-unmarried standpoint. There is some difference. Now, whether that difference is significant or ignorable, because we always work on the samples of data, visual eye is telling there is some difference. Getting this? Males and females, these are the numbers. Within that, I am trying to put some other variable. In that, I am saying, is the proportion of distribution uniform or not? This is when I am looking at male-female dimension. If I look at married-unmarried dimension, is the proportion of males and females in the married category is uniform as the proportion of males and females in the married category? Is it still the same? In both cases, our visual observation is saying there is some difference. Now, from that standpoint, so now I have to make a conclusion. I cannot restrict it. Oh, there is some small difference. These are not generalized statements. So, if I have to make a generalized statement, I will depend on the chi-square value. The chi-squared value, this is actually how it is computed is, in the simple case I can do the conclusion for you. There is an expected number. The expected number always, so these four blanks, male unmarried, male married, female unmarried, female married, the way the expected numbers are computed is, let's say if I want for male and unmarried, the expected number is 433. If I want this slot, the expected number comes as the row total multiplied by column total divided by total. This is what is the expected number if there has to be a uniform distribution. If the distribution has to be uniform, the expected number should be 433 into 399 by 844, which is like, how much is that number working out to? 433 into 399 divided by 844. So the expected number is 204.7 to bring out the uniformity. Whereas our actual number is 210. So there is some deviation. Now what about the second one? 411 into 399 by 844. So this side it should be 411 into 399 divided by 844. So 194.29. Actual number is 189. Like that I can do for all the four. So this one then has to be, we don't need to, 433 into 445 divided by 844. 433. 433 into 445 divided by 844. 228.29 is expected. 223 was the actual. And even this 411 into 445 divided by 844. Around 216, whereas the number is 222. So what is happening is, these are the actual numbers. 210, 189, 210, 189, 223, 222. These are the actual numbers. They are different, they are deviating from the expected numbers. These should be the expected numbers if the distribution has to be perfectly uniform. Probably the ratio between this and this should match with the ratio between this and this. Or the ratio between this and this should match with the ratio between this and this. Right? So if the numbers are more or less like this, we see there is a uniformity in the distribution. There is small deviation in the actuals. The chi-square is calculated based on this differences. Right? Now, whatever is the way it calculates one value here, which is based on these differences. But for us, as interpreters, right, all that is important is one single value, this one. All that is important for us, for this entire conclusion on the test, is the significance level. Almost any test which we will do from now onwards, any statistical test which we will do from now onwards, probably if you can master this significance level, conclusions are immediately taken. What we have to say is, if the significance level is greater than 0.05, 5%. If this, because I said plus or minus 2 sigma limit. If the significance level is greater than if the significance level is greater than 0.05, significance greater than 0.05, I'll always go with null hypothesis. And significance is less than 0.05, I'll go with alternate. Straightforward, right? The way I can interpret any statistical test, especially if I'm using a tool like SPSS, the good thing with this tool is it does all calculation and directly gives us the significance level. Right? The actual calculation typically goes, again, as I said, okay, this is the expected, this is the actual. So the way the calculation goes is observed minus expected whole squared, I'm not doing it in detail, whole squared divided by the expected. This is the number that is computed. So whatever is this number, I do it for all four. The sum of these four is what? 0.534. The sum is 0.534, which is coming in our chi-square value. 0.534. So we don't need to know this formula, calculations and all that. That is more from if I have to do it manually. Right now, because the tool is there in place which is doing all this aspect, if I can understand what the output the tool is giving, that is more than sufficient. Now based on this, it is telling me that the significance level is 0.465. What this means is, as long as this number is greater than 0.05. See, when I told you earlier, for a normal distribution, plus or minus 2 standard deviations contain 95% of the data. Right? Only 5% is in the rejection region, which is the outside the plus or minus 2 sigma limits. Only 5% is outside. So if the significance value comes less than 5%, which is less than 0.05, 0.05 or lesser, I attribute it to those extremes, which means it's in the rejection zone. Rejection zone means I will not go with the null hypothesis, equality. I will go with the alternate hypothesis, which is the difference. But if it is greater than 0.05, it means it is in this 95% zone. Right? See, if I try to plot a graph, in case of normal distribution, we said between mean minus 2 standard deviation to mean plus 2 standard deviation, 95% of my data will be lying. Only the 5% data will be outside. Now, when I come to this chi-square, the value is 0.534. I need to know whether this 0.534 is in this 95% limit or beyond the 95%. That is what is being given by my significance level. If it is less than 0.05, it means it is beyond the 95% level, which is in the rejection zone. If it is within, if it is greater than 0.05, it means that it is within the 95% limit, because it's beyond the 5% limit. It's above the 5% limit. So it is within the 95% limit. So I can very well go with my null hypothesis, which will contain the uniformity or equality kind of words. So from here, statistically I can derive, in this case it is 0.465. So statistically I can derive that the distribution is uniformly distributed. Though we had 189, 223, some small values here and there, statistically there is a uniformity in the distribution. The moment I see, simple way, I mean that's the easiest way to make conclusion, right? And it is true 100% of the cases. You just need to observe the significance level. No other calculation is required, especially if you are using statistics as a business user, as a functional user. You don't need to bother about any other numbers that are generated. Two variables. Look at the significance level. If the significance level is less than 0.05, go with your alternate hypothesis, which is nothing but there is a difference between the variables. They are not uniformly distributed. So you have to first, I mean, in this world of decision making, only first thing you have to be comfortable with is what is my null, what is my alternate. First step. Anything that contains uniformity, equality, positive words like uniform, equal, no difference kind of words always will constitute my null hypothesis. The opposite of that constitutes alternate. So my conclusion is either go with this or this. By default, I'll assume the null, which is the positive, no difference. By default, I'll start assuming the null. So there should be a test which should prove or which should disprove that they are not equal. And for that, an appropriate test is picked up and conducted. Especially in this example, where we are talking of two nominal or ordinal variables, comparing the uniformity in the distribution of those two variables, the test that comes into picture is chi-square test. Right? For different purposes, we will use different tests. The output of any of the tests, not only this chi-square, the output of any of the tests which we would be performing, we have to just look at the significance number. Less than 0.05, go with alternate. Greater than 0.05, go with null. Right? You don't need to bother about the complexity on the analysis at all. Tools wise, whatever the final output the tool is giving, if this value is less than 0.05, I will go with the alternate. Greater than 0.05, I will go with the null. Nothing more than that. Right? So in this case, it has given greater than 0.05, which means I will go with the null hypothesis. Null hypothesis means uniformity. So the distribution is more or less uniform. So there is no big distinction in the levels. Now let's say I'll do two more tests that will make you even more comfortable. Let's say I'll do the same, not with marital status. Let's say we'll do it with education level of education, gender and level of education. Let's see if the chi-square is anywhere different. 0.36. The significance level for this chi-square is 0.36. Greater than 0.05. Null. Uniform. Even across the various education levels, there is a uniformity in the distribution between males and females. So again, here what people try to spend time on is, where is there a difference? By default, you are assuming the uniformities itself. Let's say instead of gender here, I take marital status here. 0.72. Still greater than 0.05. So even marital, you see there is a uniform distribution more or less. Right? There is some kind of, just with a plus or minus here and there, otherwise more or less the numbers are uniform itself. Now for some kind of data, probably that uniformity may not exist at all. right? One example I have seen, at least in this case, just open one other file, not in this file. You open another file called store or something. There is one file called store. I'll tell you what is that file. Yeah, you go with mm, yeah, you go with satisfaction satis.sav. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah, again, here this is more about a store data, the satisfaction levels, how many times they visit the store, right? Are they satisfied with the price, variety, organization, service, all this stuff. Now let's say here I want to look at the relationship between the service satisfaction and gender. Gender and service satisfaction. Gender and service satisfaction. I want to see whether there is any big difference between the satisfaction levels of two genders. I mean, probably in a store we can very well have, right? Males are more satisfied, but females are not satisfied with the store. These kind of conclusions may come out. So that is where we wanted to look at this data. So let's say here I do the cross tab, putting gender on one side and service satisfaction on the other side. Again the same thing if I do. Oh, I did not select chi-square here. Statistics test chi-square. Okay, in this case also it is 0.71. So which is showing more or less uniform. Alright, then let me do store wise. So okay, now there are two variables. Now what I am thinking to add is another layer. Store wise, look at it. Overall I am seeing the gender wise service satisfaction. Now I want to see store wise service satisfaction across the genders. Third dimension I am bringing in. When I am bringing in the third dimension, I can add that third dimension into a layer here. So I am looking at store wise service satisfactions across the gender. So earlier I was looking at service satisfaction and the gender as across all stores together. Now I am bifurcating it, saying store wise. So in store 1, what was the satisfaction levels of males versus females? Store 2, what is the service satisfaction levels of males versus the females? Such kind of stuff. So that also is one more thing I can build upon. Now when I am saying here, let's see what happened here. Here also nothing. Now this is another ratio. Here we are more interested in this Pearson chi-square. Because there is a tool, it generates so many other outputs. So the chi-square here is also still 0.28. So as long as these numbers are more than 0.05, you can very probably, if I do one more layer, let me just try one more. I pull, I'll not put gender here, I'll put store here. store wise service satisfaction. Here I will pull gender. I think this is where I was observing earlier. Let me try. Yeah, here you see 0.05. Here almost, I mean very close to very less than 0.05. It's actually 0.05. Probably that's a border which we are getting. Here what we are seeing is females, the satisfaction level of the females across the stores is different. Here what is that we are saying? Store versus satisfaction level, right? Overall I am looking at store wise satisfaction levels, right, of all the people. Store 1, what is the satisfaction level? Store 2, what is the satisfaction level? Is it uniform across all the stores? Right, the first thing I am trying to do is the satisfaction level uniform across all the 4 stores? So probably at least 20% of them saying we are very much satisfied, 40% of them saying we are okay. Is this percentage proportion uniform across all the stores or not? If it is not uniform, means there is some store which is either getting more positives or getting more negatives. That should be our analysis. So what we are saying is, initially I will try to do only store versus satisfaction level. If it says uniform, then probably I will start digging deeper. Okay, overall it is uniform, but gender wise also is it uniform? So I am introducing a third dimension. Same store service satisfaction gender wise. Now when I am bringing in male, this number is 0.97, much greater than 0.05. So with males it is perfectly uniform. Now when I am looking at females, it is telling me 0.05. Probably if it is slightly less than 0.05, 0.04 or something, I could have concluded very clearly saying with respect to females it is not uniform. So what is my conclusion there? Probably some females are not satisfied with some of the stores. Male satisfaction level are uniform, whereas with respect to females the satisfaction levels are not uniform. Probably in some stores females are very highly satisfied, and in some stores females are very highly dissatisfied, which is a very important aspect to focus on for the store manager, or probably for the city manager. In some stores probably females are not showing the same level of satisfaction which the females of some other stores were showing. Either it could be positive, saying that in that store females are respected very well, blah 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 stuff, or it could be the case that in the store females are not given due importance. At least there is a difference when it comes to females in the levels of satisfaction they have established across the various stores. Now that will become a pointer to the manager to try to know, okay, in this overall satisfaction levels are fine, but when once I break it males and females separately and analyze the same data, I am finding a clear difference. So what happens in this entire analysis is, the more I dig deeper and deeper and deeper by bringing in more and more nominal variables, the real crux of the problem comes out. In whatever situation the value is less than 0.05, the significance value is less than 0.05, I can very well identify that there is a difference between those two variables at that layer, which becomes a point of analysis. As long as they are uniform, we don't need to bother about. The moment the negative, there is a number that is less than 0.05 and it is coming out that there is a significant difference, that is where my point of analysis starts. So whenever you start working on two nominal variables or two or more nominal variables, you have to simply drag drop the nominal variable. Wherever you are observing that the value is less than 0.05, that's a pointer for you that there is something non-uniform occurring between these two variables at that level of analysis. That is what is the crosstab analysis typically highlighting out. So whatever we can do with a nominal and data and two or more nominal or ordinal variables together is this crosstab analysis. Compare the uniformity in the distribution between the two variables using the chi-square test. The value of significance associated with it greater than 0.05, go with the null hypothesis. Less than 0.05, go with the alternate hypothesis. Alternate should contain the non-equality part or non-uniformity part. Null should contain the uniformity part. This is what is one of the key tests, as we have seen, store-wise satisfaction, especially when satisfactions kind of stuff where that 5-point variable is there, right? Poor, bad, okay, good, excellent kind of thing. If I have to do it against multiple dimensions, it becomes a very useful factor, right? Because they are also nominal or ordinal variables only. So if I have to compare the nominal or ordinal variables across multiple categorical dimensions, I can take the help of the crosstab analysis. Fine.